Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of MGR Unplugged, brought to you, as always, by the MGR Agency, a full-service digital marketing agency that will bring your business to the next level. All right, today's episode is going to be all things Amazon. This is something that we do every 2-3 months, really randomly, but basically it's what I called Amazon AMA, or Ask Me Anything. We get like probably a dozen questions every week from clients, prospects, people that ask, what is the best strategy for Amazon? How can we do this? How can we do that? So obviously we answer those questions as we go, but we also collect the questions because a lot of them can be helpful for the rest of the audience. So this is one episode that if you are trying to do any type of Amazon business or e-commerce business in general, you definitely want to save it and bookmark it and refer to it because again, it might be helpful, and we may be asking a lot of questions you may have and for your future business. So, anything else that you need to add as far as this episode?
No, let's go.
All right, well, let's get started.
None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, my time.
All right, David, well, here we go with our Amazon Ask Me Anything, and you get more questions than I do. I mean, I get questions more on the strategy part in general, but you get more specific questions about Amazon setups and Amazon specific marketing and all that. What would you say is the one question that is the most common from most of the people that you talk to all the time?
Putting me on the spot.
I told you. Actually,
Most common. It depends on the company size, I would say. Once a company hits a certain size, as in if they're already doing, let's say, high 6 figures, low 7 figures on their own website, the most common question is, should I be on Amazon? That's probably the most common for companies like that. And then for companies that are already on Amazon, it's probably how much should we be devoting our effort and money towards Amazon versus our own site. I would say that's kind of the two biggest.
Right, I agree. I think and it's the same thing. I get a lot of questions too. With I think I'll classify the two types of companies or people really that ask us questions. One is the person that is thinking about starting some kind of side gig and they want to start kind of drop shipping or even develop their own product and start selling on Amazon, their own design and their own whatever product they're developing. Well, they have their own job, just basically like a little side gig to start, see how it goes and test the waters. And the other one, obviously, is the one that is more of an established business that has a relatively strong e-commerce presence or even retail space presence, and then they just want to experiment with Amazon and get more exposure. So the goals are obviously very different as far as the approach for one that is a little bit of out of their pocket and trying to invest into see how the Amazon thing goes, with the other bigger company that is more established that's just saying, okay, we're going to allocate something or some
right. I mean,
budget.
We mostly only work with obviously actual companies. We don't work with like people who have it as their side gig. But I will say, I think it's much harder to do Amazon or e-com in general as a side gig these days because there's just so much competition.
It's overly saturated, yeah.
And there's all the low-hanging fruit of products that you can just buy. It used to be, you can just go on Alibaba or whatever and find some product and then throw your logo on it and sell it. I'm not saying that it can't be done, but I'm saying that it is tremendously more difficult to be successful at that now. But we mostly focus on the bigger companies. And so when companies who are not treating it as a side gig, but it's their brand, it's their company. The most common is either if they're already on Amazon, it's how much should we be focusing on our own e-commerce avenues or other avenues versus Amazon. And then people who are not yet on Amazon ask, should we even go on Amazon? What are the benefits, pros and cons, or should we focus more on the D2C route?
Right. Yeah. Just to clarify, in a nutshell, what I answer to people is that for the smaller companies that we don't really deal with so much, but the lower the barrier to entry, the more competition you're going to have. Like you said, if you just buy something on Alibaba or any other source and mark it up and put your logo and sell it, obviously that's a very low barrier of entry. But basically, everybody can do it. Therefore, you're going to have a lot of competition, and it's just a matter of, it's a price war. Whereas if you have some more of a brand and a unique product, then obviously you're going to have more chances of succeeding on Amazon, just like you would do normally in your own individual online store or retail store. So the other thing is, at least for me, one of the questions that I get is, most of these companies that are more established, like you said, they are used to already selling, whether it's physically at their stores or online through their own online retailer store, and they fulfill everything themselves. So one of the questions I get is, I want to be on Amazon, but I want to fulfill it myself. And there's obviously pros and cons to that we need to explain to them why it's better to be fulfilled by Amazon, the FBA program, versus you fulfill it yourself. And do you get that question too? Or basically,
sometimes,
when you do, when customers tell you, I want to do one or the other, what is your basic recommendation, or what is it based on?
Totally depends on, are you going on Amazon just because you want to have your products there, but it's not a major focus of being a revenue source for you, then you don't need FBA. But if you're going on Amazon with the intent of trying to do a lot of customer acquisition and revenue driving through Amazon, then yeah, I would definitely go FBA, because you get Prime, which is the biggest thing. But then on top of that, it helps with your organic rankings. There's just a lot of benefits to it. But obviously, listen, it's not free. It costs money to use FBA. But yeah, it's something. The pros and cons. The cons are that FBA can kind of be a pain to deal with sometimes. They have a lot of issues themselves, which I understand. I mean, keep in mind, when you ship with FBA, you're shipping to, what you're really doing is shipping your products to a network of thousands of warehouses and hundreds of thousands of employees, and they're managing it. And so a lot of times what will happen is, if there's a problem with, say, this has happened to me many times. Okay, so I'll give you a perfect example. We ship pallets into a warehouse, and they tell us, okay, ship it to this warehouse wherever. Okay, and then Amazon has their own labeling service that's optional, and if you opt in, they'll basically label your products with their own ASINs, which is like their own version of their internal barcodes. They'll do it for you. And so we use this program, and then they'll mislabel. But then the problem is, we don't find out until customers start getting the wrong products when they buy them, because they're mislabeled. So when the guy goes to scan it, for him it says, "Oh, this is right," but it's not the right product. Problem is that to fix that is not easy, because what Amazon does, once you ship your pallet to one warehouse, they'll then distribute it to 50.
Right.
So now you have 50 products, and your products split between 50 warehouses, and they have an internal FBA investigation team that will have to then go and contact each individual warehouse and get someone to fix it. And that can take weeks, and that's the challenge.
Well, this is actually a good segue, because one question that I just got yesterday is, I have this customer that sells products that are more, like, they sell a lot of products, but basically they have some of them that are in the low cost range, like $6-7 per product. So we said it's better to group them into something that is a 4-pack or something. Yeah. So they were asking me, is it better that I pre-pack my assortment of products? Like, if they want to sell like 4 samples of 4 different flavors or 4 different types of products or something, is it better that they pre-pack the 4 products themselves and shipping as a sampler to Amazon already, like the 4-pack? Or does Amazon pick and pack, and then they say, okay, if I want this 4-pack with this flavor, does Amazon do that for them?
No, Amazon doesn't do that.
Amazon does not do that?
No.
Okay.
If you want to have your own multi-packs, you have to pack it.
Whether it's a 3-pack, 4-pack, or the same, is it the same thing if it's the same product versus different products?
It doesn't matter. Amazon's not going to package anything for you. You need to send it prepackaged.
Okay, so you send the prepackaged for them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What other questions do you have that we need to clarify that you get frequently? As far as pricing, I get a lot of questions on pricing and commissions and things like that. And obviously, it's a moving target. In fact, Amazon, I think, didn't this week or last week just increased some of the fees, the FBA fees. Some of them changed for the categories.
Some of them changed. Some of them went up. Some of them went down. They're kind of changing it depending. Pricing. Okay, let's talk about pricing and margins because this is super important to understand, especially if you're
Right.
using FBA. Okay, pricing. It's hard for companies who already have existing products, but if you're a company who's developing new products, I think it's very hard to be highly profitable on Amazon selling things for less than $25-$30. It's just hard unless you have the budget to do big volumes and sell tons of units.
Right.
It's very hard to
Which
turn
is
a
the
profit.
reason why a lot of people group
Right.
small ticket items into 4-packs, 6-packs, so they can add up to $25-$30 total.
Right.
Like
If
you said,
you're-
so that's how the fixed fees amortize. Over
You want to
the
get your
number of
average
packs.
order value to like $30 plus. If you can get there, you'll be in good shape. And then on the margin side, gross margins, as in before Amazon takes their cut, what are your sale price minus your cost of goods, right? The gross margin.
Right. Before you even ship to Amazon, what is your product?
Don't bother if it's less than 50%. Don't even bother on Amazon. Ideally, 60% or more. I mean, that's just the truth these days because it's so competitive because you have to factor in all the costs, especially if you have a lower price product. So let's say you're selling something for $20, okay? Amazon's going to take 15% off the top. Okay, so that's $3 right there. Then you have FBA fees. Depending on the size of your product, let's say you have like a mid-sized product, your fee is going to be $4 to $5 on top of that. So that's already $7-8 out of your $20 price that is gone straight to Amazon. And then if your cost of goods, let's say you have a 50% margin, you spent 10 on cost of goods, then that's 7-8 to Amazon. You're left with $2 or $3. That's for advertising. And let's say you have a really good return on advertising of 5 to 1. Okay, well, it still doesn't make sense because you're spending $4 to sell a unit, so you're spending basically $22 to make 20.
But let me ask you, so I know the fees, but I don't know exactly the numbers. I mean, I look them up all the time. But let's say that I sell a product or pack for $30 on Amazon. After all the fees, the FBA fees, the Amazon fixed fees, storage fees, whatever, roughly, what is the percentage of Amazon fees that I can expect to be paying for my $30 product? In other words, when that sells,
it totally depends on the
category. I understand on the type of product.
the standard fee is 15%. It varies. There's some categories that are more or
Right.
less, but let's just say you're a normal product
In the 15% range.
15%.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's 15%. Doesn't matter what it is. The only thing that varies as a percentage is the FBA fee. That's why I said you want to sell things for more. Because if your FBA fee is $5 a unit, then at $30, that's 20%.
What is the
At
FBA?
$50,
What is the FBA based on?
It's based on size and dimensions.
Size and dimensions of
Or
the product.
weight and dimensions, sorry.
Okay, right, dimensional weight that they call it. So
if you have a big product, you're going to spend more.
right. So let's say a company that sells. I want to make some specific answers or a little more.
Let me go back to the $30 example. The reason why I say you want the higher price, the better, is because at $30, if your FBA fee is 4 or 5, let's say 5 for ease of math here, that would be 20% of your
Right.
price. If you sell the same thing for $50, your FBA fee is still $5.
No, I understand
so now
that.
it's only 10%.
Right.
You know, that's what.
But that's what I was trying to. If the minimum, the average value of the average cost is $30, which is what we say is the minimum that you should sell things for. It recommended.
You can do less, but again,
Oh, I understood.
it's
But I wanna-
based on
But
volume.
let me start with some specific numbers. Let's say that I sell normal products. I'm not going to sell televisions or anything big, but just sell like whatever, mouse or things that are packageable, and then the package is just a 4-pack or something that is not dimensionally too large. So approximately, if that sells a 4-pack or 6-pack or a single pack, it doesn't matter, for $30, and then will we say that maybe the total of Amazon fees will be about 20%, 25% of that value? In other words,
for $30,
for $30, yeah, for $30, maybe like
let's say your
$7,
FBA
$8.
fees are not 5 and it's lower, and you're at the 350 range, which is like they have different tiers. You can just go on Google, search FBA fee table, you'll find it. Let's say it's 350. Okay, so 15%. At what price did you say?
$30. So basically,
okay, so that'd be 450 plus 350. That's $8.
Right.
8 divided by 30.
Okay, so
that's basically the Amazon fees. But it depends on what you're selling.
So we're looking at just to put a number, like you said, 8 divided by 30. So what about 25-30% of your cost? So you sell something for.
That's why I said, if your gross margins are less than 50%, don't bother with Amazon. You will never make money. And ideally, you want to be 60%.
Because that's the question that we get, I mean, worded in different ways, but that's the most common question, because a lot of companies, even established companies, are used to their own shopping cart margins, where, like you said, if they sell something for $30 and their cost is actually, let's say, 12, 14, they say, okay, yeah, we pay hosting fees, blah, 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 all that stuff. But then they pocket the whole thing. And then whether they have free shipping or not, something is up to them. But at least they know their margins. Now, what they don't realize is that when they go to Amazon, they have all these other fees. Obviously, Amazon is giving them the hugest or the largest marketplace online that exists. But they're going to charge you for it, and they do everything.
There's actually one other fee I didn't mention, and that's the cost of shipping your products to the Amazon warehouses. That obviously costs money too. There's ways to mitigate those costs, but yeah, you have to factor that into. I just wanted to mention that when people are doing their calculations, you always have to pay to ship your pallets to an Amazon warehouse in the first place.
So even though they give you a special break and stuff because they have agreements with other shippers,
still a cost.
But you still have to pay for it, obviously. So yeah, that's the biggest, I guess, misconception when companies don't realize that you're exchanging the fact that Amazon is doing everything for you for the fact that they're going to charge you more, obviously. So I like to voice it like, listen, you're gonna make less profit, or sometimes even no profit. I mean, you're gonna break even if you sell on Amazon, but you're gonna get a lot of exposure there too. Is that a good trade-off? Basically saying,
again, it totally depends on the company strategy.
Well, I understand, but if a company like one of the hardest things for some companies is to find the budget on top of that for advertising. And they say, okay, well...
if you don't have advertising budget, don't go on Amazon. It's not worth it.
But they may be advertising outside of Amazon. That's the thing. So, but they want
advertising that is with the intention of driving traffic, whether it's specifically on Amazon ads or other ads. If you're not spending on advertising for Amazon, I wouldn't bother, because it's just, you're not going to rank anywhere, and it's a whole lot of work for not a lot of money if you're not advertising, basically.
What if you have a product that is a little more unique? Like some companies have products that are a little more unique, that there's so much competition within Amazon, and people look for that product, and if you are there, you will come up at some point.
Honestly, I rarely see a category where there are not already 100 competitors.
So another question that I get too is, will you use Amazon as a branding channel for you, like a way to
branding? No.
Well, hold on. As a way to spread your brand through another marketplace that gets much more traffic normally than your own websites or other marketplaces that you have.
No, because it's not like it used to be. Amazon is very pay-to-play now. It's not that you can just magically rank organically on the first page on Amazon.
Not on Amazon, but if people look for your brand or something on Google and you are on Amazon,
but then
you will rank also.
But then if people are already looking for your brand, then send them to your website. Why give Amazon the cut?
Well, it's just for convenience. It's just one more channel. A lot of people will basically trust
Make
more
your
buying
site
from
more convenient.
But a lot of people will buy from Amazon because they have already an account. It's more convenient to do whatever they buy from your website.
If your product is only available on your site, then they have to buy through your site.
So it looks like you're not recommending.
I'll tell you when this is what Amazon is good for. It changes, because the problem is that a lot of people are operating on the knowledge and strategies that worked 3-5 years ago, but it just has changed. It has changed, and this idea that you can just rank on Amazon magically is not going to happen. Just putting your products on Amazon, you're not going to get sales. Using it as a branding channel, I think actually having your products on Amazon can dilute your brand.
But I wouldn't say branding. I'll say more like a exposure channel.
But like I said, you don't get exposure being on Amazon. It doesn't give you that exposure anymore. I know what you're saying. That used to be the case, but you don't get exposure. The only way you get exposure is Amazon says pay us, and we'll put you on the first page. It's pay per click.
Pay to play is basically.
But there's no exposure. You can list your products on Amazon, have the most detailed descriptions and perfectly SEO'd out. If you don't have sales, it doesn't matter. The number one factor in ranking on Amazon is sales.
Sales and reviews, obviously.
Sales number one. I have a list. You can go to our blog. I have a little guide of how to rank. But anyways, sales is number one. If you don't have sales, forget about everything else. This is what Amazon is good for. There's kind of two schools of thought, and this really depends on your brand strategy. One is like Anchor is a good example. Okay, Anchor is a company, Anker. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of them. If you've ever looked for electronics on Amazon, you've seen them. They're a company that does tens of millions in revenue, and they used to be only Amazon, and that was what they did. Their whole strategy was, we are going to dominate the Amazon rankings for all of these various electronics products. That was their goal. And so that's how they made money. And they didn't really have repeat purchase products. So they had no incentive to necessarily bring people to their website because it's not like people repeat purchase batteries or cables or things like that. It's not a recurring purchase, right. So it depends on the product. It depends on the brand strategy. If you have something that is a recurring purchase, the most common would be like a food item or something, food, drink, something like that, or people, once they enjoy it, are going to be buying from you over and over. Right. I would strongly push you to try to take those customers all to your website. Because once you make the sale, you don't want to be giving 15% plus of the customer lifetime value to Amazon. You want to try to funnel them to your site. And that's something that we work with a lot of clients. But
what happens is that a lot of these companies don't have the infrastructure to handle the logistics.
But they do, because if you're
not at that volume. I mean, if they're used to shipping 1 or 2 products per day,
but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about real brands who are selling hundreds of units a day. Okay, and if you're selling 200 units a day on Amazon, you're giving tons of money to.
Yeah, but they're doing everything for you. I mean, it's no different than anybody else.
They're doing everything for you, but they're owning the customer. They don't even give you their emails. You have no ownership over the customer experience, and over the lifetime value of the customer, you're giving 15-20% to Amazon.
No, I mean, yes, I see that, but I also, I don't know. I think I buy a lot of things on Amazon for convenience, but I also know that I can look up my products online, and if I decide not to buy on Amazon, I can just go to, if the product that I buy has a little contact information, website, and everything, I can go to the customer directly or to the vendor directly and buy it. So but
that's what I'm saying.
The term they own your customer is I understand it.
You don't own your customer on Amazon. They don't even give address info anymore.
No, I understand that. But if I'm the seller, if I'm an Amazon seller, and I say, okay, I created my audience or my customer base. I don't own my customers. They are there. They are buying from me. They're buying 1,000 times a month. And I have my customer base. And then, like Nike, I said, okay, that's a big brand, but I'm saying, okay, I'm going to stop selling on Amazon now because I want to stop
and that's what Nike
giving
did.
them all this money. So then I don't know John Smith, my customer, but I know I have 1,000 customers that are smart enough to say, oh, well, I'm just going to go to Nike.com and buy my thing directly. So if your products on Amazon are labeled properly, produced, that customer that likes your product is going to find you no matter what, whether it's on Amazon or any other store or your own store. And then you do own your customer, right?
Right. What I'm saying is if your people are already looking for you, then they're going to buy from you, whether through it's your website or through Amazon, the majority of them. So you don't need Amazon in that case. What
Well,
Amazon is
you
good
needed
for,
to get a jump start, and then you take it back.
what Amazon is good for is as a discoverability and
Well, exactly.
customer acquisition channel. But if you have a recurring purchase product, once you acquire those customers, your number one goal should be to move them over.
Of course. But Amazon to me is almost like let's like going to a trade show where you see a lot of vendors and a lot of customers that are all competing
Amazon
with
is
each
a
other.
digital Walmart, okay? When you go to Walmart or any retail store, yeah, you probably have the similar things you buy all the time, okay? And Amazon is just a digital version of that. But my point is that before it was not possible for every single person who sells products on a shelf that someone buys all the time to open their own local store in every community where people are buying them, because that wouldn't make sense financially. But now you can, because you have websites, and so you don't need Walmart anymore. You can just someone's buying, if you're always buying this your favorite whatever ragu sauce, okay, ragu doesn't need you anymore if they're buying, because it didn't make sense to create a ragu store, okay? But now they can, because it doesn't cost much to create a website, and so they can drive all that traffic there. That's what I'm saying for recurring purchase products. Now, if you are Anchor, that's a different story. They are not recurring purchase products. Their strategy was, we just want to dominate all the organic rankings for electronics. That's a different strategy. Now, even as they have reached scale and they're doing tens of millions of revenue, they sell on their website, they sell in retail stores now too. It's a different strategy once you get that big. But to me, Amazon is best used as a customer acquisition channel, but not a customer retention channel, if that makes sense.
No, understood. So this is another thing that comes up frequently, and we have a lot of clients that are in the cosmetics industry, vitamins, things, supplements, things like that, which is obviously oversaturated on Amazon and pretty much everywhere else. But the thing is that when we go and talk to those customers, they actually have a very decent online presence already themselves on their website, and they sell everything and they promote everything. They have actually very decent looking websites, whether it's Shopify or any other platform, but they also want to be on Amazon. So some of them say, what is it best for me? If I already have this customer base, is it good for me to be on Amazon to have another sales channel that maybe I'm not utilizing right now? And if I go to Amazon, is it better for me to be FBA or basically do my own fulfillment? Because then I own my customer. So what strategy do you recommend in those cases when a customer has already a pretty good online presence? I don't know about sales per se, but they have a good online presence as far as efficiency and frictionless environment and all that. But they just want to, if it's a product that a category that is very popular, they want to be there too as a player. And then obviously FBA is going to cost them more money, so they'll probably not make almost any money if they sell on Amazon, or they can decide to fulfill themselves and use Amazon as a platform, as the digital marketplace that you said, but they still own the customer, they still ship to the customer themselves and everything else. What approach do you think is best for those types of clients?
I would use FBA. I mean, I would try, if you're going to be on Amazon and you want to play the Amazon game, quote unquote, you need to use FBA, because that's, Amazon owns the algorithms and they want your money and they want you to pay for FBA. And they even stopped doing, there's a program called Seller Fulfilled Prime. And they closed that down like months ago, and they've been saying they're going to reopen it. And it's been, I don't know, probably a year now. They don't accept new people. So you can't even self-fulfill and get the Prime badge anymore. You have to use FBA for that.
But do people use Prime because it's obviously the free shipping for Prime members, or if there's a similar product that they like better, but it's not Prime, but it also offers free shipping, we'll just go to that? In other words, is the algorithm in Amazon obviously
the algorithm
Prime?
Favors FBA products and Prime products, but yeah, if you offer free shipping, it's good, but you don't offer free Prime shipping. Prime is 1 or 2 days. Most people are not self-fulfilling. They're not offering 1 or 2 day shipping. Absolutely not. They can't afford it, basically. So, no, what I tell those customers, because I have these conversations all the time, is what are your long-term goals, right? If your long-term goals are to have a massive customer base that you own completely, then you need to use Amazon as a customer acquisition channel, but not necessarily as a major revenue driving channel. Now, if you say, no, I want to use Amazon as a major revenue driving channel, then that's a different approach, and you do differently. And then you focus on playing the Amazon game, basically. You have two options. You can try to play the Amazon game and just make money through Amazon and be kind of at their mercy, which is fine, but there are many dangers to that. Or you can try to take advantage of Amazon and use it as a customer acquisition channel, but then drive those customers back to you. Those are kind of the two main strategies. And I talk to customers all the time about this, and
I know
they have different approaches.
Right, and obviously, just to clarify, there's no obviously one size fits all.
There's not.
It depends on the particular customer, the situation, what they want to, what is their goal by going to Amazon? Do they want to just be their main? We always tell customers, do not just have Amazon as your major revenue source or major channel, because obviously Amazon is a moving target, and they can change everything as they do constantly, increase rates, decrease rates, change their programs, and then obviously your main source of revenue is gone. So the correct strategy is use Amazon as a additional channel, just like you may use Walmart.com or any other format, and then just continue. So let me get to some advertising questions that we have too, since I wanted to kind of wrap up this podcast. We actually have a couple of other commitments to do after this podcast, so we have a little limited time this time. But so advertising. Question number one for me: how much should I advertise on? Or what budget should I use to advertise on Amazon? Because obviously Amazon has limitations. It's not like most of the customers come from campaigns that are like, you can target by geography, by demographics and all that. Amazon has certain limitations as far as how much advertising you can do, or the type of granular advertising that you can do, because they don't allow you to say, oh, I just want my ad to be in the Northeast or in Washington State or whatever. Basically, it's going to be everywhere, and the same thing for demographics. So when it comes to the budget, what do you think is a reasonable budget for a company to start advertising, and how does the Amazon advertising format work as far as the
Amazon's very similar to Google. It's just basically they have search ads for the most part. They're expanding their advertising options a little
features,
bit,
right?
But for the most part, the majority of Amazon advertising budget is still basically searching for, like you said, whatever cosmetics. Okay, there you go.
So is it keyword based?
Yeah. The reason it's limited, Amazon advertising, it's like everything. If you can bid on certain keywords that are really cheap and you find that arbitrage and you can make a ton of money, I mean, go for it. Like we do that all day. We manage a ton of Amazon advertising campaigns, but we always limit it because it gets to a certain point where you're just limited by the number of searches that are made and the other people that are bidding in that auction or bidding for that keyword. And because Amazon, and this is something that is very, very, very important for people to understand, that I have to kind of explain a lot, but that once I say it, people kind of say, oh, I get what you're saying now. Amazon is a demand capture advertising platform. Something like a Facebook, Instagram is a demand generation. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? Demand capture means I am searching for this product already, and so you're trying to bid to be on that front page so that you can capture that demand. I already have the demand.
Right.
When you advertise on Facebook or Instagram and you show ads to people in different demographics or whatever, you're generating demand for your product. The difference is demand capture has a limited upside. It can be very profitable, but it has a limited upside based on the number of people that are searching on Amazon for that product. Demand generation has an unlimited upside because you can generate demand from tons of people.
All right, so let me get back to the question about the
how much budget?
The budget, right?
I would go as much as is
profitable.
Obviously
as much as you can afford. But what is the what happens is that a lot of people think, oh, I can put $500 a month. That's basically worthless. I mean, when people come with a little money, it's like you better just invest in something else, because Amazon is going to be like not even doing anything for that money. So, what do you think is the minimum budget that a company should have to advertise on Amazon, whether it's like daily or monthly, like $60 a day, $2,000 a month, more? That's minimum. Obviously, that's just to barely even be visible.
Yeah, minimum, I would just say a couple grand a month. But because that's when you bid less than that. Keep in mind, Amazon is very competitive. So when you're bidding on certain keywords, depending on the category, I mean, there's keywords that cost $2, $3, $5, $6.
Right, and that's the other thing. The cost of advertising on Amazon has increased like.
So if you're selling
twofold
a product that is $30 and the keyword auction is $3 a click, and your budget is $30 a day, you're only going to get 10 clicks a day. Mm-hmm. And if your conversion rate is 10%, that means you'll get one purchase a day. Okay.
And add to that the fact that you cannot adjust geographically, so those clicks could come from any region basically, or worldwide even. You know, as far as
no, it's only U.S.
Well,
I mean, you can do it in
advertise
different countries,
overseas,
but if the budgets are based on the country,
right? So when you have a product that is more geographically dependent, whether it's something due to weather or something like that, you can't say, okay, I don't want to advertise this thing in the Caribbean or in California or something. If it's something for cold weather, you know, obviously people are not going to look for it there, but you're a little more limited as far as what you can do as far as selection.
Yeah, but I mean, it's demand capture. So someone who's searching for that on Amazon obviously has a lot of purchasing intent. Mm-hmm. So the reason they don't have geographic limitations is because it's not really necessary when you're doing search. Because
it is and it's not. I mean, we had a customer that were selling something that they only wanted to sell to states where they could deliver in a 2-day max because of the nature of the product.
Yeah, in certain limitations.
And then they could only do that with border states from their location. So they only wanted to advertise the product in certain states that they could actually complete the 2-day delivery within time.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Took away some of the states.
Yeah. That's fine. I mean, I know there's certain outlier cases, but for the most part, geography doesn't really matter when it comes to advertising on Amazon. It just matters ultimately, it is a keyword arbitrage game. That is really all it is. It's can you find the right niche keywords that are cheap, that people aren't bidding on, that people who search for that have a high affinity for your products. Mm-hmm. That's ultimately the game. That's what we do. It's very algorithmic. We use a lot of data just to do that. The difference between Amazon advertising and like Facebook and Instagram is that Amazon is very, I would say it's almost entirely numbers and algorithmic based, whereas Facebook and Instagram are much more on the creative is what matters.
Right.
So it's just a different approach. But yeah, I mean, depending on the product or the category, I would just spend at least very, very minimum, I don't know, $1,500, $2,000 a month,
right?
And then just go up as much as is profitable. You know, obviously you have to decide what's profitable or not profitable for you based on your margins, based on how many people repeat purchase. Do you have a repeat purchase product? Things like that. And then you basically say what's profitable for us. And then sometimes there's certain keywords, like normally I'll give you a little insight on how we run campaigns. Normally I'll kind of separate high volume keywords out from niche keywords so they have different budgets. And the high volume keywords, we just set a specific budget with bid caps on them. So, okay, I'm not going to spend more than $2.50 a click on this. Right. So some days I might not get any clicks just because the competitors are bidding the hell out of it and it's $5 a click.
Right.
So I'm not going to spend that budget that day, but we've decided that with the client based on what's profitable. Mm-hmm. But that's really the game. It's a keyword arbitrage game. That's why I always tell people it's good to have, but if you really want to drive sales on Amazon, you need third-party ads from other platforms driving to Amazon.
All right, so I need to wrap it up for today, but we'll have everything, all these questions and show notes. We actually do write. I mean, you have an e-commerce Edge weekly where we have a lot of information and tips on e-commerce in general, not just Amazon, but we'll collect some of these notes and questions in our show notes for the episode.
If you want to join the newsletter, mgredge.com/join.
Yeah, you get, actually, that's a very good newsletter. I actually do read it every week. And
I hope so.
Well, I know. No, but honestly, it's just very, very quick snippets. Usually only 1-2 stories and then 3-4 links for information that might be interesting. So it's something that is not very intrusive. It comes to you, you check it out. Sometimes you don't read it. Sometimes you read it. It doesn't hurt our feelings. So you just delete it.
If you don't like it, just unsubscribe. I don't care.
Right. No, but not only that. I mean, sometimes not all topics are for everybody. So you can just look at the topics quickly, see, okay, nothing here is new to me, so move it.
It's just, if you're in e-com and especially Amazon, I would recommend giving it a shot.
Right.
I just give insights, and it's half news and half insights.
But the good thing is that we also, you have calls and I have calls sometimes directly with Amazon contacts and vendors and things like that. And we find out about some information, even insights that they give us over the phone that we can basically relate to our audience, to our customers, and say, you know what, we learned that they're not really hot on this thing, or things that they're going to cancel or approve or so forth. So we can give you a little more insight other than what you read everywhere else. So any closing thoughts on Amazon? I mean, my thing is always, Amazon is great, but it's not the type of channel that you want to just rely on. I mean, you want to always have your own.
It's all about your long-term
strategy.
goals.
Yeah,
exactly. You want to craft a strategy based on where you want your company to be in 3 years, and based on what you tell me I'm going to give you a different strategy based on that.
And we are very big advocates of direct to consumer these days. That's, I think, the way the world is going, not just in retailing, but in everything. I mean, you have direct to consumer with with programming companies like Disney Plus. All these streaming video services are really direct to consumer that decided we don't need to go through, cable providers or anything. We can just give it to the consumers directly. So they're doing that. People are cutting the cord. Automotive, we discussed Tesla, direct to consumer, no dealership. So there's a lot of power in that as far as owning your customer. So use Amazon as the tool that it is for you, like the largest digital marketplace, but do not neglect your own channel, because at the end of the day, that's what gives you control over your product, your pricing, and your services, and especially owning the customer. So I think that's it for today. David, anything else?
That's it for me.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for listening. For any more information, visit our website. mgragency.com is the main agency website, and then we have mgredge.com, which is where we post all the podcasts and everything else. If you like this podcast, please save it, share it with your friends, and of course, if you have any other questions that you'd like us to answer for you, just contact us through the website or through the podcast or anything that you can find. Until next week, this is Manuel and David from MGR Unplugged. Thank you. Bye-bye.